Hey guys, welcome back. We had a really fun and challenging dungeon to go through today. This Demon's Dance Alone, the very hard dungeon here for this demon event we've got going on. First of all, let's take a look at our team. I had to go through a couple iterations trying to get just the right team to be able to go through here. We start off with Rock. He's got that polar pounding, really just to kind of delay a couple of those big teams that you're going to come into early on in the dungeon. And then we've got Sir William, one of my favorites as a defender, as a taunter. He's got the longest taunts. This is my understanding. 1 turn longer than any other tank's taunt. So that's one of the big reasons to bring him along. He's also got some other defense boost. And then we've got Dagrund, and he is going to help out in a special way you're going to see here shortly. That final skill he has to increase permanently for this dungeon, increase the health of a character. We're going to apply that over and over again, stacking it on our tank. And then finally Augustus. And Augustus got a couple things that really help out. That Aegis shield for the whole group, you're going to see that come in handy a couple times. Having a strength against demons helps out as well. So let's go ahead and enter this dungeon, get started. Augustus also has that smite that's going to do a lot of damage to some of the different demon characters. And lay on hands never hurts to get that full heal, especially when we're talking about a tank that's our tank that's going to have some really high health here later on. So you see us start out with polar pounding. I have sped this up ×2. This is probably the most dangerous. The very first 2 floors, using this team, this is the most dangerous time. And we started already, we used our first potion, upping the health of our tank. So we need to be able to live through these first couple hits. You see he gets down fairly low there, and we need to keep him alive. So when going through this, you're going to have the same team every time, or the same group of enemies. I would recommend taking out the Ella type enemies first. They've got that crit multiplier that can just lead to some huge damage and cause a lot of trouble for your team. So after that, kind of focus on those 2. We do get armor break from these Tasumi type characters, and that can do a lot, but not quite as much of a challenge. Now, another thing you're going to see, I'll continue to use to alternate through here. If you look at Sir William, his taunt, it's got I think it's a 4-turn taunt and a 5-turn cooldown. So there's always 1 turn that you could be off by. But if you couple that with Dagrund's first skill, we've got down there, it's got a 7-turn cooldown. You can give him 3 energy. So basically, you can get through 2 whole rounds. You can do that first 4 turns of taunting, have that energy put on, do another 4 rounds of taunting, and by that time, usually you're going to have to either use an energy potion or just live through a single turn without taunt on your tank. Say that 3 times fast. Taunt on your tank, that's a lot. All right, anyway, so that's the main plan. Try to keep him taunting all the time and keep boosting his health. You're going to see as we get through here, our tank ends up having an enormous amount of health. So having that final skill, Healing Hands, it's going to give our Sir William an additional 18% health that stacks every time. And it stacks in a multiplicative kind of way. So it's like 1.18 times his health each time. It's going to get to be huge. So we'll see that. So this second group, again, these first 2 dungeons really have the most threat when using this team. We've got Taunt off for this 1 turn. You'll see that it kind of came to a second round or the second run through here. But we're going to have Lay on Hands to get our tank back up to full health, and our other characters have Aegis shield on, and we had some of the enemies frozen. So it's a collective thing, really balancing between all of these. We're going to save up on our Healing Hands for 1 turn there. See a lot of things going on. You get tank down quite a ways, but not too close for danger. And then we can do Healing Hands again. And now you're getting a full heal, so that 8,400, that's his current health right now. Just a huge chunk of health, and it's going to go up much higher than that. We keep Bulwark on all the time as well. Keep the whole party's defense up. One of the nice things for this group, for the enemies we're going against here, is they're almost entirely single attack, abilities. We'll have a little bit of variation from that as we get into probably just the last dungeon. We'll get Aegis Wall up here again. But that's the biggest thing. So we've used up 2 of our energy potions, and we're getting down through here. We need to do something else to get his health back up. We come back around, another healing hands. Now he's up to about 10,000 health. So really strong. Take a single hit there, and you can see it almost wipes out Augustus. You really can't leave your team to just take hits in this dungeon. So I wanted to try to get through here though without using the potion trick. Without doing any, the potion trick's a little bit cheap. I think it's not kind of the way that I'd like to get through. Certainly, if that's the way you need to get through it, then go ahead and do it. But if I'm going to make a video on this and try to showcase the strategy, I wanted to get through without doing that, which took a little bit of extra time. Alright, so some of these as well. The first 2 floors, I would say, I delayed as much as possible. So you've got 4 or 5 characters that you're fighting against, 4 or 5 enemies. I would get a couple of them out of the way and then just single attack to slow it down. Because with this team, you want time to be on your side. You want to do healing hands to boost the health of your characters as many times as possible early in the dungeon so that you've got enough health. You'll see some critical attacks there too. My understanding, or critical heals, my understanding is that you're still going to get only that 18% increase in the total health. We'll see as we continue going down through this video. Alright, so we get the first turn just to freeze. We're going to have defense up. We're going to wait a turn to put that defense up since no one's going to attack. We want to use Rock's passive, using Sir William to attack that round so we can do a little extra damage. And then when they're unfrozen, we'll go back and do that defense buff again. And here we'll get Aegis Shield. Augustus has some really powerful attacks. So you want to try to be as careful as you can. Augustus can do a ton of damage to our tank if he doesn't have Aegis Shield up. And you're going to see that here in just a minute. So we'll hold off. I'm trying one thing to do with Smite. When this guy puts Taunt up, it can be really a bear to work your way through him. So that's one reason I try to hold off on using Smite. Smite will remove that buff. It kind of purges that buff away, so that can help out a lot too. That's one place to use it, and you'll see it again a little later. That Thundercracker attack that their Augustus just used can do an enormous amount of damage if you don't have Aegis Shield up. And we're going to see that again shortly. Let's take a look at this heal. I didn't quite catch it, maybe something like 14,000 health now. Just a huge amount of health. And at this point, I think I even started using lay on hands on some of the other characters just in case, their shields are down and they end up having to take a hit or two. And then we can come back to that lay on hands from Augustus. So you've got healing hands with Dagron, lay on hands with Augustus. And those are the only 2 skills that I'm aware of that have the healing that scales with the health of the character. All other heals are going to be related just to, a certain amount of health that they can heal each turn, or per the skill use. And there you saw that massive damage you get with that skill from Augustus. But those 2 skills will do basically full health recovery. And that's why I think it's important to have that second one. So Augustus can use it here, bring our tank up, give him over 10,000 health in healing, and take away that electrical debuff that they had on our characters, which is it's not doing much damage, but the issue is it takes out all of our shields. And one thing you may or may not have realized with Aegis Shield is it stacks, which is really incredibly powerful. I mean, another strategy you could go with altogether, if you didn't mind doing the potion refresh, you could just keep refreshing Augustus each turn. This works on different dungeons depending on what's going on. And use his Aegis Shield for everyone every turn and just build up lots and lots of shields over top of your characters. It can be really, really powerful. Not as strong when you're going against bigger groups though, if you have these groups of 4 or 5 characters. So here, some of these, I switched around Energy Rune from Dagron. Sometimes I would use it on our tank, on Sir William, to bring his taunt back around so we didn't have to waste an energy potion on him or go a turn without having it up. But sometimes I'd use it directly on Dagron himself so that he could do his healing hands again sooner. I think near the end of this battle I end up using it on Augustus as well, so that he can use that Aegis Wall skill a little bit sooner as well. So it gives you some versatility there. You can move it around. When I'm down to a single attacker like this, if you can put up Aegis Wall, then you can afford to wait through a turn without any worry that you're going to have someone taken out without having taunt up. Because otherwise, that Thunderclap, or whatever that thing is that Augustus does, could take out any of the other characters besides our tank in a single hit. He really just does enormous damage. And you can see having that electrical on ended up wiping out all of our shields there. And having Light Hunter as well. He would have decimated Augustus right there if he hadn't had an Aegis shield up on him. So really a powerful combination. I'm looking forward to using this kind of group. I ended up going through a couple iterations. I tried putting Echo in here. It just turned out it wasn't the right way to go. A couple other groups, but Sir William is really key as a tank. Initially I was using Igorok as the tank, and his defense just isn't anywhere near high enough. Even with armored, it just wasn't close. He took a hit of something like 14 or 16,000 from Augustus. You're not seeing hits that are anywhere near that high using Sir William. I think part of that's his already super high defense, and then his passive buff to defense for blue characters, and then having, when you've got Taunt on, you get another boost, and then he can put that other active Bulwark defense buff on as well. So that really helps out to cut down the damage here. Say the only downside with Sir William normally as a tank is that he doesn't have all that high a health, and that can be helped out if you bring Yasmin Bloom along. She'll give a 20% boost of health to all the characters, but even more so if you bring Dagger on and keep stacking that 18% boost over and over again. So again here I'm kind of slowing, just there's no rush with this group. I want to build up Aegis Wall as many times as I can. I want to keep using Healing Hands on different characters. I think at this point I've used it on Dagron himself. At some point I use it on Augustus as well. I think I've already used it on him at this point. Now we're coming to the very last boss. And if you get here with your team intact, there's not too much concern. And you can't freeze him. He's immune to freeze. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not going to help you out as much to have Igorok, but he did his duty earlier on in the early dungeons. And Smite does an enormous amount of damage if it hits. So we had a miss right there. You know, that can happen. All these characters are higher level than ours. And because we didn't have the Aegis Wall built up, because of that electrical, nonsense that was going on back when we fought Augustus, then it did some damage to us. But not too bad. We can keep going through it, realizing that every other hit is going to bring that shield up on the boss. So you kind of got to time out where you're going to use this, because you really want Augustus's hit to land. He's going to do by far the most amount of damage. If you wanted to end this early, this would be where you would summon a friend, put on that Marked for Death, and go from there. I really wanted this to be as much of a challenge dungeon as possible, and so I didn't want to use a friend, and I didn't want to use any more energy potions, or I didn't want to do the refresh. And we're going to end up using that final potion here, but really just as a way to send the damage over the edge for that boss. So you can see working through here, I don't think I use any more on that tank. I wasn't watching closely. But you can see even hits that are 2,000 are barely touching him. Let's see if we use... Yeah, okay, we're going to use it on Augustus there. But really just an enormous amount of health. Still just scratching him with 2,000. It's the power of multiplying that damage. Multiplying the health is what I mean. Having that basically 1.2 multiplied over and over and over again on their health. And then here we'll use the energy potion and really finish them off. Just with a nice final blow. 12,000. You can see how much damage that would really do. So that's it. We get that gold chest. Get our 3-star. Really a powerful group. Looking forward to using some variations on this for dungeons in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video and it helped out. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see everyone soon. If you like this, then you're going to love what we have coming out next. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more mobile gaming videos, or check out the rest of the channel for more tips and tricks. If you don't have this game yet, feel free to download it from the sponsored link in the video description below. These downloads help to support the channel and help us to continue to put out more great videos. Thanks again for all your support, and come back soon as we continue our quest, seeking every possible advantage.